Hello everyone, and welcome. My name is Descartes, and this is an overview of the Subsidiary DLC for Capitalism Lab. So first and foremost, to get it working, after you've purchased the DLC, when you launch the game, you need to open up your DLC window using this button here and enable it in this list. Now, these are the 4 DLCs that they have released so far. You can enable or disable whichever ones you want to add to your game and utilize, and they'll all work. So you don't have to worry about, say, if you buy the latest banking and finance, is that going to mess up something in subsidiary? It's not. So anyway, for subsidiary DLC, just make sure that's enabled. You can enable others if you would like, but you don't have to. All right. So that's that. And then one of the things that they added with the subsidiary DLC is new scenarios. So we go up here. If we select, you can select base game or subsidiary DLC. So if you select that, you can see that they've added 5 new scenarios to the game. So if you enjoy playing through the scenarios, which is a good way to learn the game and how it's played, then yeah, that's one way to do it. So they've added 5 new scenarios for us, which is wonderful. Another thing really quick before we get into the game that has been added is a few options. Okay, so first of all, you can now add subsidiaries to the game when you're starting out. You can also start out as a private company if you would like, instead of starting out as a public company, like you do in the vanilla game. You can also set up multiple floors in retail stores, and we'll cover that a little bit more later. Okay, you can set up what percentage of your competitors will be private companies. And another thing you can do is you can turn on product customization. And we'll talk about product customization a little bit later in the video. But you turn that on in the options before you start your game if you want to use it. Okay, so we're going to go in here. I've got another game set up really fast. All right, so now we're in here. And let's say we want to set up a new subsidiary. And for our purposes here, we'll say we want to do it because we want it to have a different product. Because my main company builds computers. It's a tech company. So say I want to make a subsidiary that's going to make something non-computer related. So I might want to have it as its own company. Another thing that helps with that is if I go into my company information, oh, that wasn't right there, and go into the brand. If I want to set up corporate branding for my company, which some people like that. Some people would rather do range brand. Some people want a unique. So if I want to set up corporate branding, and now I have corporate branding, so everything I make is under one corporate, New Atari Tech. That's the name of my corporation, my company. All right, so if I set that up, what if I start making something like, I don't know, makeup? Or something like that. Well, that doesn't really fit well with my tech company. So one solution for that would be to create a subsidiary, and they will have their own branding. And then you don't have to worry about your products being under one single brand. So for instance, if I have one product that's going to be really low quality, pants or something like that, and then another product that's going to be a really high quality computer, I don't necessarily want them to be under the same brand. So this is one way to take care of it. That'd be one reason you would want to do a subsidiary. And there's plenty of other reasons why you might want to. But anyway, to create the subsidiary, you just go into your info panel and you go to your financial actions, and there will be a new setup new subsidiary company option up here. Now, of course, you need to control your current company to do that. I personally control 100% right now. But you have to control the company, so more than 50%. So once you go in here and choose set up new subsidiary company, you choose your color and your logo. So whatever you want to choose, you make that, and you can name the company whatever you'd like to name it. Down here, the initial capital of the new company must be a minimum of $20 million. But you can raise it up to give them more starting capital if you would like. But it has to have at least 20 million. So you can't start the game up with a small company and just start spinning off subsidiaries right off the bat, because it costs a bit to get it going. So all you have to do then is set up a new subsidiary and then go in here, and we're looking to hire a CEO. I personally don't care, so you can pick anybody you want from the list. You can look at different information from them, but I'm just going to hire this person. Okay. So now she has been hired. Yes, I accept her salary, and the new company is set up. It's all made. Okay. Pretty cool. So for your subsidiary control, there's a few different things that you can do in here to control the company. So right now, this company is made and it's off and running. It's doing its own thing because I've hired this CEO, and they're an AI, and they're going to do whatever they're going to do. So these options allow me to more control what it is that I'm going to allow them to do. Okay. So one of the things I can do is set up their general, can they expand into retail? Can they start doing production? Can they go into media? So you can turn these general settings off. Now, backward integration is another thing where you can set it up whether or not the company will build firms and factories to produce the materials needed for the final product. So if you want vertical integration, that's what this backward integration is going to do. Okay. So will it build the farms and natural resources firms to supply raw materials? Okay. You can go scope of production. In here, you can actually choose what products they will produce. So if I say I want this company to only produce one thing, I can click disable all, and now they can't produce any of this stuff. And I don't even know if I have the resources for it, but for now, I'll just turn on cosmetics. So the only thing this company can produce is cosmetics. So I've told them, don't make anything else. Okay, so you can do that in here. You can enable all and kind of let them go with whatever it is they want. You can micromanage as much as you want, or just kind of let them run things, which is really cool. All right, so then they have management policies. See, these are just in general. Maximize. You want them to balance. You want them to maximize market share, or do you want them to maximize profit margin? So you can set up their general pricing and stuff like that here. Look for better suppliers. You can set up that they'll only purchase from your own firms or from any firms, own or parent firms. So you can set up a lot of stuff about your subsidiary if you look through this. Prefer ordering from own warehouses over own factories. So you can make it so that, you have that intermediate warehouse in the middle. Internal sales. You can set that up, advertising, all that stuff, all the budget stuff. Pretty cool. You can also set up some of the financial options that they may or may not do. Okay. Closing down unprofitable, invest in other companies and merge with them. It's really cool. You can really set them up to do all sorts of stuff that you want. All right. So we've got this set up. So let's go and build this company a headquarters. Okay. So what we can do here is we can go up to the build menu and see, now you can see two companies that I control. So we'll select the new one, Superforce. It's the Superforce that I have set up to make makeup. All right, and we're going to build a company headquarters for them. Okay, here's the headquarters. There's their CEO. And now I can set up the different headquarter units. And within these units, I can set up the same sort of things I can set up in my normal company. So like I want to hire a chief technical officer and look for candidates. And I want to hire someone. Okay, let's look at their expertise. I'm looking for someone with expertise in research and development over 20. And right here, here's somebody right there. So I'm going to hire this guy as the technical officer. Whoops, I didn't mean to click my staff only. I meant to click the guy. Okay, so it's him. And then under career, we can hire him as chief technical officer. Okay, and now we can tell him what sorts of things he can control and change on his own, which is fantastic. Okay. There he is right there. He's working hard. All right. So once you have that set up, you can control all sorts. So you can see that this is my subsidiary, but I can control who I've hired and what policies they can do. You can hire a new CEO, set the policies for the CEO management. You can set up that whether you want them to expand or not, and the scope of products, like I showed just a moment ago. So you can control a lot about them. The next thing you can do is control them at the firm level. So let's build them a factory. Okay, so again, we have these guys selected. Let's build them a factory right here. Okay, and let's say I want to do cosmetics, and we'll just do eyeshadow. Okay, so I need to purchase these, and I'm not worrying right now about my purchasing and all that stuff because I'm just trying to show in general how this works. So I'm not being too particular. Okay, so now I've got a factory that's going to make eyeshadow for me, or for the subsidiary, I should say. All right, so now in here, one of the things I can do is if I click here, I can choose the manager of this particular firm. So I have set this up, me. Once the game starts running, right now the manager is the CEO of the subsidiary. They may choose to change everything in here. And they may choose, what things are going to sell for and where they're going to buy the stuff. They might change all that stuff. If I want to retain direct control, like make sure and keep it exactly what I've set up, then I can just change myself to manage this firm. And then it'll stay the way I've done it. So that's one way to not have the AI make changes to something if you specifically don't want them to. But the option is there. You can either let them control it or you can. It's really nice in that regard. Now the other thing that's been added is this relocate demolish button now has a transfer. So if I wanted to, I could transfer this firm to my other company. So it's really nice. You can just switch the firms between companies if you need to, if there's any reason you would want that. Another thing to keep in mind is, let's see if we run this just a moment and manufacture a little bit. Okay, internal sale right here. Internal sale will include all firms in the subsidiaries you control. So internal sale will allow you to buy and sell products from your subsidiaries. So if I wanted to set up a subsidiary that took in raw materials, some timber and some oil and iron ore, something like that, and create the first products from them, some plastics or some steel or something like that, and make it like a raw material subsidiary, I can still set it up as internal sale, and then with my other company, I can buy those things from them. So internal sale doesn't mean you're that company only. It means the entire organization, including all subsidiaries. So that's really helpful in that regard. Okay, so another thing you can do is, now that I have a subsidiary set up, if I control at least 100% of the subsidiary, I can give them money. So you need to go into here and go into financial actions for the subsidiary company, and I can choose capital injection. And now I can inject capital directly from my main company into the subsidiary if I would like. So it's one way to kind of help them out, get them started. Say I forgot to give them enough money when I spun them off into a subsidiary, or possibly they're not doing so well and I want to help them out a little bit. I can inject capital right there. So it's a really nice thing that's available to kind of help control things. So, and again, I don't have to micromanage the subsidiary. I could just give them money as they needed it and let the AI do it, and I don't have to worry about it. And then that's one thing. Or I can fully micromanage them as much as I want and transfer money if I want to. But there are some other options in here as well. You can set up an IPO. Okay. And you can set the dividend. You can issue new shares to the parent company. So with my subsidiary, I could issue shares, but instead of issuing them to the public and then having my parent company buy them that way, I can issue them directly to the parent company. And it still costs the parent company money. So you're going to be paying market price and above. So it's not going to be like all of a sudden you can just get all the shares for super cheap in your parent company if you wanted to. But it does allow you to generate some more capital in the subsidiary while basically retaining the full control with the parent company instead of issuing shares to public, which is an option if you would like to. That certainly works. Another thing you can do is if your company or your subsidiary is privately owned, you can do an initial public offering. So you can set them up to trade publicly. So it's in this same financial actions, and you can click on IPO. So you can go public, and you can percent of shares for IPO, and it'll tell you how many funds you're going to raise, and you can make them a public company. Now, if you're already a public company, which I'm not, instead of initial public offering, you can also privatize. There'll be a privatization option. So right here, instead of go public now, the button would say privatize. So I could buy up all the shares and turn the company to a private company if I would like to. So you're not locked in to one or the other. You can go from public to private or private to public depending on what suits your specific needs for the game that you are playing. All right. Another thing you can do is merge two companies. So let's select our target company here. Oh, well, my two companies are private, so I guess that wouldn't work. But right here, let's say I owned Zeta Group. Okay. If I controlled Zeta Group, and I wanted to, I could then choose a company down here, and a merge would appear here as long as I controlled Zeta Group and this company. Let's see if we can do it right now. Let's super force and let's make them go IPO. Okay, so now Superforce is a public company. All right, so let's find them. Superforce right there. Now, I've selected New Atari Tech, which was my main company. If I wanted, I could merge them and take the subsidiary and merge it in with my main company. So not only can you spin off subsidiaries, but now you can actually merge companies. So if I took control of another company and had full control of it, like over 50% owned shares, I could then merge that company with mine if I wanted. So that's something that the DLC has added that's pretty darn cool. Another thing that has been added is multiple floors in retail outlets. So here's a retail outlet that I built for my main company. And right down here, you can see this is standard layout from the game, but you can set up a new floor. So I can create a new floor. It'll give me a new 3x3 layout, and then I can set up for sales. It changes the overhead of that store quite a bit. So it's going to become more expensive to run that store. So you don't want to just start throwing willy-nilly new floors in, usually. But sometimes you're selling everything that you can, and you need some more sales units. You need some more purchasing units. You can create a new floor and a new layout for that. So you can sell more than just the 4 items that you could normally sell at a retail store. So that's another thing they've added is the multiple floors. And that's something that I talked about in the options for the game setup. You need to change it in there. All right, another thing they've added is product customization. So that was also something in those new game settings that I showed that you could turn on. That needs to be on before you start your game. Now what you do, and this is a little bit more complicated than this video, but outside of the game, you need to set up custom images for your new products. And it's actually very simple, very easy to do. And on their website, they have instructions to tell you how to do it. And I'll link that in the description below. But say you've already taken care of that. You've added the product images for new products. So what you can do to see those new products is you go into the information and the manufacturer's guide. I did it for computers. So you go in here, and in this, they've had this button now for product customization. So you can click that button, and then whatever images you've added to the folders following their instructions off of their website, those will appear in here. So since I'm a tech company, I added 2 PCs. I have a potato PC and a gaming PC. Okay? And this is the technology level required to produce them. So if you do this, you can basically split up a product. So in the vanilla game, if I made a computer, I just have my desktop computer, and that's what I'm selling. And I research that, and the quality gets really good, and I sell it. Maybe I sell it for more and more and more and more. Well, that's just it. I have my computer, and I'm selling it. By doing this product customization, it will allow me to have multiple levels, and it doesn't have to be 2 like I have here. You can have tons of levels, and you can change the quality, the research, the technology level required to make them. So the reason you might want to do this is, say in my market, I have a potato PC that I'm going to sell for really cheap, and I'm going to make, maybe I'm making it with lower quality products, materials. It doesn't matter. Anyway, I'm selling it at a lower price, and it's a slower PC to fit that market. But then I also have the gaming PC that might be selling for much more expensive because it's a higher end PC. And now I've hit 2 different demographics because of that. But I'm still only making computers. So that's what product customization can do for you. It really helps in that regard if you want to be able to control the entire market because you're selling 2 different types of the same thing. So say 2 different models of computer or 2 different models of car or something like that. The next thing you can do, or that the DLC is added, is radical research and development. So let's go to our subsidiary company and make a research and development center. And let's put it there. So now we have a research and development center. So what we can do with this is we can set up a new unit, and now we have the choice of radical research and development or just regular product. This is the standard one that you got in the vanilla game. The radical one is one you can add here. What the radical research and development is going to do for you is increase the possibility of getting improvements in your tech. So it's going to potentially improve your tech by greater returns. You'll get greater returns on it. But there's also a chance for failure, and you could lose things. So here's the radical. You can go in here and you can choose whatever it is you're going to be doing. What's ours? Eyeshadow. Okay. See, target result 200% gain, but it's only got a 50% success rate. And then I can set up that. Okay. So it's a better gain, but a less chance of success. So that's definitely something to think about if you're interested in the radical research and development. That's pretty much it for the overview of the new things the Subsidiary DLC has added. You can go into great amount of details in all of these different departments, and you can change what they can do, and things like that. So there's a lot you can do with subsidiaries, but it definitely adds things to the game. I really appreciate the ability to do subsidiaries and things like that, because it just changes, especially if you've been playing the vanilla game for a while and you're just looking for something a little bit more or some better ways to handle some of the situations like I spoke of earlier, where maybe you have products that are vastly different from each other and you want them to have their own separate brands, but you want to be able to control them separately in companies. rather than just kind of you have brand recognition and stuff for your main company, and you just kind of got to go, I'm going to sell pants at this store and a computer at this store. So it'll help you out in that regard. But it definitely adds a lot to the game, and it's definitely worth checking out. So keep that in mind, and I hope this video was helpful, and I hope it gets you excited about the Subsidiary DLC, because I really like it, and I hope you will too. So thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate you being here, and I hope you enjoy the game as well. Take care, everyone.